To the 70 million people of Japan, Hirohito, their emperor, is a god through direct descent from the great sun goddess Amaterasu. They believe that he personally owns Japan, its land, its resources, and even themselves. And they believe that it is the right and destiny of Japan's emperors to rule the whole world. To bring about the fulfillment of this destiny and to destroy all nations and peoples which stand in the way of its fulfillment is the sacred duty of Japan's army and navy. Behind the fighting forces stand all the wealth and power and resources of a people whose national dream is to see Tokyo established as the capital of the world. From Tokyo, the Japanese have for over 11 years been carrying on one long, uninterrupted war. Again and again, Western economists have predicted that Japan's economy must soon collapse. But Japan is stronger today than ever before in its history. An adaptable people, the Japanese have made good use of the inventions and conveniences of the Western world, which might fit in with the plan for world conquest, which is their national obsession. Non-essential industries in Japan have been all but wiped out, for the empire has recognized but one need, the need for the materials of war. Efforts to hold down prices have failed, and inflation has decreased the purchasing power of the yen. Japan's gold supply is carefully hoarded, no longer forms a basis for her money, but Tokyo's bankers see their turn coming later, when Japan begins exploiting the lands it has conquered. Most eagerly sought securities on the Tokyo Stock Exchange are the shares of government-controlled corporations set up to develop the gold and iron and timber of the Philippines, the abundant rubber and tin of Malaya, the oil and quinine of the Dutch East Indies, all the raw materials needed to make Japan self-sufficient in a war which many of its leaders believe may last a century. Playing their closely supervised part in total war are Japan's metropolitan newspapers, which ape the great American dailies. For a stick of type can be set, it must be approved by the Army, the Navy, the police, and the Foreign Office. No story or editorial, no picture or cartoon may be printed which opposes the concept of a Japanese-ruled world. Thus, to the Japanese reading public, the progress of their holy war is an unbroken succession of triumphs. Every disaster becomes a victory, and all news is good news. For every channel of public information is being used to impress upon Japan's people that the war is proceeding according to a divinely guided plan, and that the people's part is merely to double and redouble their sacrifices on behalf of the emperor and of their sons and fathers away at the front. There are few luxury crops in Japan today. Practically everything has been replaced by crops which give the greatest nourishment. All grain and rice belong to the state. The whole crop is bought by the government at a price just high enough to keep the peasant alive and working. And in a nation where land is the chief source of food and life, No square foot of farmland, however meager, is left untilled. To protect its supply of hardwood, Japan has for years practiced reforestation on a national scale, and today its lumber, like everything else it produces, is going into the war effort in one way or another. Make sure that on the farm not an hour is spent in idleness, no material is wasted. Every rural community produces useful handicrafts. In the towns and villages, home industry is also the rule, and in these homes lies much of Japan's industrial strength. With each home a miniature factory, the nation's total production is almost beyond estimate. Japan's heavy industry has been mobilized on a war footing. Its materials, machine tools, and workmen integrated into a long-range program to build up and maintain the Japanese war machine. To make up for shortages of strategic materials, it accumulates great stockpiles of raw materials by importing them from China, India, the Netherlands East Indies, and from Western nations. Japan's state religion is Shintoism, which teaches that Japan is a heavenly land, protected by their gods, who have even taken the form of a divine wind, which scattered and confounded enemy fleets. Shinto gods exist in rocks, trees, and rivers, and even the souls of men who have died for their emperor are worshipped as minor gods. Today, they believe themselves well on the way to realizing their imperial dream, the dream of uniting all mankind into one worldwide household with Japan at its head. This, then, is the enemy. This war machine, this empire can be beaten. But let us make no mistake, for total victory, we must make total sacrifice. Nothing less than all our efforts will suffice to bring peace and security in our time.